Hello there, good afternoon. Time for the marketplace with me, Charles Aite. Here's what's coming up. Ghana's economy has plunged into a recession upon contracting in 2 consecutive quarters. But already economists say that we are doing far more better than other countries.
When you look at it in relative terms, we haven't done badly at all. I think we can credit what we are seeing also to the mixture of monetary and fiscal policies that were quickly deployed in response to the COVID.
Also call it an irony.
144 cedis per person for visa to Israel. Ghana is charging from Israelis 800 cedis per visa.
Well, call it an irony, it is cheaper to travel to Israel, but citizens there will need to pay more to get a visa to Ghana. We shall hear from the Israel ambassador to Ghana shortly, but later in the program, we'll also tell you the successful COVID-19 stories as we feature an entrepreneur at the forefront of assisting farmers with the needed online tools to be competitive in the global market. And we have all these stories coming up shortly after this break to stay. You're welcome back. Well, the big debate in the circles of economists in Ghana is whether or not the country is in a recession. Last night on PM Express Business Edition, the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kwabena cautioned against the projection that the economy will go into a full recession by the end of this year. He says it's too early to reach that conclusion.
I would respond to this from 2-time perspective, and this is what we need to be mindful of once we're having a discussion around recession. So as I indicated, the computation of GDP is done from a time perspective, is done at 2 levels. One is to look at it on a quarterly basis, and the other is to look at it on an annual basis. Currently, we've released 3 quarters of 2020. The first quarter of 2020 puts our growth rate as 4.9%. And subsequently, in the second quarter, there was a contraction of 3.2%. And in the third quarter, we've seen another contraction of 1.1%. We have collected data, or we are in the process of collecting data for the last quarter of 2020, and we have some data for October and November already. So I'll be hesitant in drawing a conclusion that if we are doing the annual GDP for 2020, at this point in time, one can conclusively say that on an annual basis, we are in recession. But clearly, from a quarterly point of view, that is comparing 2019 quarter 2 with 2020 quarter 2, and also comparing 2020 quarter 3 with 2019 quarter 3. On both counts, we see that the economy has contracted. If you look at it on a quarter-on-quarter basis, that is looking at the period, that is the second quarter of 2020, the period between March and June 2020, we saw a contraction of 0.8%, and also for the period July to September 2020, we've seen another contraction of 0.3%. So from both a quarter-on-quarter basis and quarter year-on-year basis, we've seen that the economy has contracted. But then, as I indicated for emphasis, for the whole 2020 to be declared as a recession for the country, one has to be circumspect.
Well, also partaking of the debate was economist Professor Gottfried Bachmann. His argument is that Ghana is doing far better than any other African country when it comes to economic performance.
When you look at it in relative terms, we haven't done badly at all. I think we can credit what we are seeing also to the mixture of monetary and fiscal policies that were quickly deployed in response to the COVID-19. And therefore, we will say that we avoided the worst moments. But I think what we are seeing should not surprise us, because we largely expected this, that we were not immune from the effect of COVID-19. And practically that we entered COVID-19 with a bit of a weak immune system also, because we had just come out of the energy crisis ending 2015, and then 2016-17 we walked into the financial sector crisis. We were just coming out of that, and then COVID hit. So you realize that the economy has gone through a lot, and this is expected. I mean, we said before that we should not be hopeful that we're going to get a V-shaped recovery, that suddenly the economy will just rebound to pre-pandemic level, and that we have a long way to go in terms of the recovery. But of course, if you look at the various policies that have been put in place, and then the effect of that in terms of the explicit formation of public debt, and it tells us that we have quite some challenge ahead of us. And also, you also have to look at the recovery. If you look at the subsectors that are contracting, very, very, very significant. But of course, you can also see agriculture and then ICT sector that is holding us going forward.
Let's stay on the recession debate a little longer, because the host of the PM Express Business Edition, Gottfried, has been breaking down the numbers, looking at Ghana's economic performance in the third quarter.
If you look at the data as well, you get to understand something here that, listen, now the Ghana Fiscal Service will always want to tell us how the economy fared with oil and without oil. Now, if you look at the agricultural sector, it grew by 8.3%. That is if you look at the GDP with oil. If you look at the industry, it went down actually by 5.1%, not doing that well at all. Services sector also did 1.1%. So if you look at the graph here, it's talking about GDP with oil and GDP without oil. So if you look at all these data here, you could see that industry didn't do well, services sector didn't do well. And if you look at the fact that GDP with oil, it was 1.1%, that is a contraction. And GDP without oil, it was 0.4%. Let's also get some understanding here for those who want to more understand in terms of how they've actually fared and all the rest. And if you move forward, let's also try and move forward and get some more understanding of these graphs as well, in terms of the basic graphs and how they fared as well. You have hotels and all those things here. Let's also go for it still. I still want to get some better picture for you guys to understand when we talk about how the economy is faring as well, and how things are looking as well, and all those things, just to break the issues down and give them to you. So this is how it gives us the basic breakdown of the numbers and how they fared as well. Let's go down and see how things are faring for us. I think we need to go down more, see how, yes, and of course, so we've seen these things here. This is telling us how growth actually fared if you look at the monetary terms as well, and it's giving us some basic understanding here. Let's also move forward and see what the next graph is going to give to us. And this is going to give us the share of the economy. So if you look at the graph right now for the third quarter, it gives us the services sector commands the largest share of the economy. For that is 42%, followed by agri, which is 23%. And industry has about 35%. So it tells us that there are more things happening in the services sector compared to the other sectors. And therefore, this economy is a service-led economy as well.
Gottfried there, the host of PM Express Business Edition. You're still watching The Marketplace. Let's move away from the issues regarding the economy, because it's much cheaper to travel to Israel than it is for citizens there to travel to Ghana. This was made known by the Israeli ambassador to Ghana, Shani Cooper, who says it will take reciprocal action to waive off visa fees between Ghana and Israel. She's also been speaking on the issue, this particular issue, as well as the future of trade post the elections.
This is the time for Ghana to jump with its economy, and I'm sure that we are going to be next to Ghana supporting it.
That's great. So when everything is said and done, we're hoping to see the 1%, the awful 1%, mark jump up, hopefully.
Definitely, yes.
Talk to us about the avenues of, entering to Israel. Has there been any talks of a waiving off visa requirements in the future?
Well, this is actually a reciprocal step. So if we are waiving the fee, Ghana also should waive the fee. So do you know how much Ghana charges for a visa?
You tell me.
Okay, so Israel is charging 144 cedis per person for visa to Israel. Ghana is charging from Israelis 800 cedis per visa. So it will be the decision of Ghana probably.
Have you started discussions?
No, because this is not the main issue on the item. I can tell you that we are negotiating on other things. For example, frameworks of or legal framework for economic activity. We have a trade and economic agreement between Ghana and Israel that was signed in 1968. One of the first agreements that was signed between Ghana and other countries. We are negotiating on renewing it and redefining it, because what we had in 1968 as a developing country and what Ghana had in 1968 is totally different than the things that we have right now. We also have negotiations on double taxation avoidance, and this will encourage business people to do more business because they will not have to pay taxes both to Ghana and to Israel. There will be only one country that will receive their taxes. I see more and more Israeli business people coming here, attracted to the stability, to the democracy of the country. And although that elections are elections, and in any country you don't know, see the US for example, you don't know who will take the chair, the relations, the bilateral relations between Israel and Ghana were always good and were always stable. So I believe that together with the Israeli know-how and the Ghanaian enthusiasm and capabilities, the sky is the limit.
Well, let's still stay with some investment stories, because the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC, and Invest for Jobs, an initiative of the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, have signed an agreement to mobilize investment and promote job creation in Ghana. The cooperation between both countries will address investment promotion challenges reinforced by the coronavirus pandemic to help maintain and create new jobs in the country. The special initiative on training and job creation, of course, is to be implemented, among others, by the GIZ. Let's listen to the head of development cooperation at the German Embassy, Ms. Dorothy Dinkela.
This implementation agreement represents the first long-term cooperation between GIPC and the German corporation in Ghana. The GIPC has always been at the fore of successful investment promotion in Ghana and contributes to making Ghana one of the most important place for doing business in West Africa, but also within the continent. Let me also acknowledge the success of the campaign, we heard it earlier, Grow in Ghana, Grow with Ghana, which contributes to the outreach of business success in Ghana and internationally, and inspires investors to seize opportunities available in the country. All these make GIPC a very essential partner for the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, BMZ. Also to fulfill the goal of supporting German, but also European and certainly African companies and investors engaging in Africa, especially in Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic, UNCTAD, or UNCTAD, expected globally a decline in foreign direct investment of 30 to 40%. Just during the period of 2020 to 2021. Although tax exemptions, grants, and other measures have swiftly been established by the Ghanaian government to mitigate the impact of the pandemic on companies and that already exist, however, the pandemic highlighted the shortcomings of the digital transformation in Ghana and thus presenting opportunities to improve services for foreign investors through digitization of investment promotion service.
Well, the chief executive of the GIPC, Yofi Grant, has also described the agreement as pivotal to the digital agenda of government.
This particular contribution, financial contribution, facilitated by GIZ, is the amount of 762,300 euros. and it goes to actually facilitate some specific areas. I mean, we've already received 390,000, and it's in our bank account, and we are using it for various initiatives, specific initiatives. We believe strongly that our critical key focus areas, especially under the SDGs, is SDG 1 and SDG 17, the first and the last. Now, SDG 1, of course, is about poverty alleviation and poverty eradication. And that can only be facilitated when we energize and strengthen the SME sector. Now, SDG 17, on the other hand, is about partnership and linkages. So we believe that to cover from 1 to 17 means that we have to focus on 1 and 17, and that will bridge the gap significantly. So we are also particularly delighted about that. But we also recognize that Ghana and Germany had a compact with Africa arrangement where we had many initiatives coming out of that. And I'm delighted to say one of the developments that came out of that is today we are actually assembling VW cars in Ghana. There are other initiatives with Bosch, with Siemens, and many other German companies that have come out of the compact with Africa, especially in the energy side. And so we are very happy that we've taken one step further, and now we are actually looking at job creation in the SME sector, which is a very, very important part for us.
Yofi grants there with the GIPC. Now, the Opportunities for Youth Employment Program has been launched in the Ashanti region to enhance youth employment and curb irregular migration in Ghana. 5,000 young people are expected to be trained under the program to enhance their employability and entrepreneurial capabilities. There is more in this report.
SNV Netherlands Development Organization is implementing a 4-year project that boosting green employment and enterprise opportunities in Ghana. This is in partnership with the United Nations Capital Development Fund and the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. The goal is to improve the employability of beneficiaries, particularly women and returning migrants, by matching them with market opportunities. Gifty Kujo is the Skills Development Advisor at SNV Ghana.
4 years. We've done 1 year already, so we are left with 3 more years to go. It's been implemented in just 2 regions in Ghana, here in Ashanti region and then the Western region. And even within the regions, we have selected districts that we are implementing the project in. So like I said, it's a joint action implemented by us, SNV, and the United Nations Capital Development Fund. So in Ashanti here, we are looking at 6 districts. We have Drobonso, which is Setre Afram Plains. We are also looking at Adanse South, New Edubiase. We are also working in Kumewu, Setre Kumewu districts. We are in Offenso, North and South. We are also here in Ejra.
SNV Ghana wants to create and strengthen a local ecosystem that supports youth development. Out of the 5,000 people to be trained, SNV Ghana hopes to support 3,500 in setting up their businesses.
Out of the 5,000, we hope that 3,500 will be able to access some form of employment for themselves, or we will be able to support them to set up businesses for themselves.
Some beneficiaries spoke about how the initiative would transform their business ideas and improve their lives.
I can say my confidence have been built, and then I have learned a whole lot of things. I've had a lot of business ideas whilst doing my internship that I'm hoping to explore after this internship. And so it's not just about the job I'm looking at, but creating a job for myself in the green sector. So I would encourage everybody to take advantage of it. It is an opportunity that you will not regret when you take advantage of. Yeah.
After school I wanted to start my own business. I have the technical skills, but it was left with how to go about putting those skills into practice and making sure I benefit from it. So I was surfing Facebook one day and I saw this caption, OI. So I clicked apply and joined, and I went for the training. So during the training, it was in 2 sessions. They asked if you want to join the entrepreneurial class or employability, so I chose entrepreneurship. So during the entrepreneurship training, I had the opportunity to learn a lot of things that were not given to us in school. And putting those things into practice and going by them is helping me gradually build up my business.
Coordinator of the National Youth Authority at Ejura, Mahmoud Laminu, expects the training to help transform the youth.
Those we presented are basically secondary school leavers. They should discover more on their potentials. They will know where they should fit very well in society. Generally, for them to know the purpose of life after secondary school.
The Opportunities for Youth Employment Program focuses on 3 special sectors: agriculture, renewable energy, water and sanitation. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Now, one sector less impacted by the coronavirus pandemic has been the agri sector. Interestingly, it gained more growth during the pandemic with initiatives like the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative. As we tell successful COVID-19 stories, we feature an entrepreneur at the forefront of assisting farmers with the needed online tools to be competitive in the global market. Here's Joseph Marte Dixon, the Chief Executive of the International Conglomerate Solutions Limited. Joseph, we're so grateful that you joined us on the marketplace. First of all, these are unusual times, and we do know that the agri sector has really been resilient amid COVID-19. Your contribution to smallholder farmers has been exceptional. I've seen the videos and I've seen the technology, but describe to us the contribution that you have made so far in the scope of COVID-19 as an agri-techpreneur.
Yeah, thank you, Mighty. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Well, I think it has been very challenging, very difficult times. These are not easy times. These are times that we are facing a lot of challenges. But once we as business owners, we as IT institutions, we are striving to the highest, and we are hoping for the best.
So describe to me the technology that you are deploying to assist local farmers on the various farmlands.
Yeah, so the Upper app is a mobile-led platform to support access to food, information, technology, extension service. Farmers can sell their products on the app. There can be a research side of the app. There's a marketing side of the app where farmers can sell and also market their products on the app. So the app is made in the way where it cuts across all the sector of the agri industry. So we are looking at small-scale farmers, we are looking at the large-scale farmers. So what the app is able to do is able to connect all these farmers on one platform, whereby they can be able to sell or market their product. And also one thing about the app is once the farmer logs into the app, there's a farmer profile where you'll be able to access and see every information about the farmer, where his farm is, his produce, what he does. So these are things that the app is coming up to do for farmers.
Joseph, I believe you have been interacting, of course, as you've clearly described, with various farmers on their respective farmlands. What advice have you been proffering them ahead of 2021, especially where we do know the face of agri will change just as any other industry following the impact of COVID-19?
Yeah, I think most of the farmers we've engaged, most of them talks about access to loans, access to lands, access to so many things that they think government can come in to support. Especially most of the complaints that we get when we meet the farmers access to credit.
Yeah, and most of these complaints also we have been reporting on. But as I said, I wanted to find out from you the kind of advice, the impact solutions you have been advising farmers with moving forward in 2021.
Well, we want to tell farmers that once we want to grow as an industry, we think technology is the way forward. We think technology is everything. We want all farmers to embrace this GIPC app. They should work with us together and for the success of the app. Once the app is success, their business also is success. So, I mean, we are pleading with all the farmers that, hey, I mean, this is technology, but we can do it and we can go far.
Joseph, we're grateful that you joined us. He's an agric techpreneur. Interesting title there. He's been speaking to us on his COVID success story. Let's now bring you some investment tips, financial tips in this segment of Money Lab.
Today on Money Lab, we want to continue with our journey on achieving financial independence. One of the critical things we are trying to do as we round up the year is to do well to put a handle on our expenses so that in the ensuing new year, we will be in a good position to become financially independent. Today, what we want to learn is to learn to rationalize your expenses. As we round up to the year and as we prepare to achieve financial independence, if there is one thing on Money Lab you must do is to rationalize your expenses. How do you do that? You divide your expenses into two. One is statutory, the other is discretionary. Statutory expenses are the expenses you can barely do anything about. They are expenses you can't run away from. You've got to make them. The discretionary ones you can decide to or not to, and it doesn't change anything about your life. If you can put your expenses into these two categories, you will notice that you will spend on the things that matter most and save the outstanding for the ensuing year. If you do this, achieving financial independence becomes a possibility. Join us tomorrow as we tell you what next.
And away from the Money Lab, let's now take you to our summary of one of our trending business stories, also under our Quick Take edition.
In the course of the year, we've been able to implement the three-tier pension scheme, which first retirees came out into retirement in 2020. We've been able to effect benefit payment, of course with some difficulties. So far, some pension funds that we expected growth for, obviously because of COVID-19, may not have grown to the extent that we expected. But by and large, the pension industry has been stable.
Well, that'll be all for the marketplace. I'm Charles. I am grateful that you joined us. Have a good afternoon.